Welcome to a bonus episode of Lead Time. Jake and I have been chatting every single Monday, but for the foreseeable future, Lead Times are going to be coming out on Friday. So you're hopefully listening around Friday. We recorded this on Thursday, April 23rd, just to give you some context. Isn't that right, Jake? Is it today the 23rd? Okay.
I have to look every time.
So this is a wild season of cultural transformation, and anytime conflict enters into the world and into your home, it's an opportunity for you to either be paralyzed with fear, anxiety, or to invite the Holy Spirit to rest upon your heart, to help you learn new things, to love more deeply, to have new lenses that help you see the world like Jesus sees the world. And that's exactly what's happening for us today. Let's center ourselves first on this episode with Jesus' words in John chapter 16, verse 32. And here's what he says the night he is betrayed by Judas. He's about ready to be crucified the next day. And here's one of his last words to his disciples. Behold, the hour is coming. Indeed, it has come when you will be scattered. Now listen to this. Each one to his own home. Can you relate to that? Right now, it's happening. Each one to his own home and will leave me alone. Yet I am not alone, as he went to the cross, for the Father is with me. Now lean in here. I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. Peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. How much do we need peace right now in a chaotic world? Internal peace, spiritual peace, and today we are talking about financial peace. The economic realities are changing rapidly all around us. Some people are going to make fortunes through this struggle and transformation, and other people's homes and fortunes are being decimated right now. There is rapid change. Now, for me and our family, I didn't think about, 2 months ago even, that we would be getting a little credit card because of the CARES Act. And on that credit card for my wife would go unemployment dollars from her employer. She's a cosmetologist and she cannot keep social distance while doing people's hair. So she's not been working for the past month or so. And that was just so kind of crazy, even like, is this okay for us during this season to do this? So just wrestling with our financial picture. Pastor Jake, how is your family walk through this financial evolution?
Yeah, it's interesting too on the other end of that, of also not having a lot change and also receiving stimulus checks from the government and saying, this is kind of weird. There's a virus, people are being affected, but yet the government's allowing you to do that. So seeing that money as a gift to be used to help other people is what we're choosing to do, to also pour into the local businesses. To help support a little bit. One of my sister-in-laws who had entrepreneurial, excited, came out of college, moved to Las Vegas, and at 22 has been furloughed. So she moved back here, and I'm really proud of you, Courtney, because you have decided to get a new job right now. And so you're not just sitting around saying, hey, look at me, woe is me, but working locally at the Fry's grocery store. And so good on you to adapt in this time and say there are some jobs that are available. And when you hear, if you're unemployed, of those opportunities, cut your pride if it's not the money you think it would be. But this is a different season. And so be about that.
So today we are blessed to have one of the sweetest, most passionate and kingdom-minded couples I have ever known over the years as a pastor.
So true.
Ron and Vicky Wilson. Now, Ron has served in a number of capacities down through the years, most recently as our board president. And it was a little over a year ago, Ron, when you said, oh, Pastor, I'm going to step down as president. And immediately you get that kind of pit in the stomach feeling like, uh-oh, what did I do? What's going on? And he goes, no, it's nothing like that. I just want to do life and ministry with my wife. That's what you said. And
Beautiful.
I was like, oh
Wow.
my goodness, yes, I love that. So tell us more about that ministry choice in this season of life. Ron and Vicky, welcome to Lead Time.
Thanks. Well, as we move to close to 35 years of marriage and towards getting close to retirement and looking at all the things we had done separately from each other and doing things we enjoyed, we want to get together and do things we can do as a couple. And sitting in a board meeting with Vicky sitting at home was not being a couple.
Right.
So
Board meetings are fantastic, right? I mean,
they
they're
are.
so
Sorry,
No, our
Pastor,
board
not
meetings are
fun.
Not all the time. Not all the time. Are they that fun. Yeah.
So we want
Not
to
for Vicky.
Not for Vicky at all, to me. So we want to pick some things that we could do. We don't have to be right next to each other, but we can be together on the same activities. So we've done things like powwow, the FPU classes for one, and then we looked at some role models in the church. If you look at, there are so many couples that are great role models for us to look to. Pam and Maury Allman, they're going through getting into retirement and how they connect with each other. Tom and Robin Glock and the things that they do together.
Wayne and Gail Schmidt.
Ray and Gail Schmidt
watched
going
them,
through, and,
yeah.
and they're both, all of them are very active and together. And that's kind of what we want to make sure that our marriage, as we move on to our second part of a life and towards retirement.
I really adored that about you two. You told me a story a while back about roadies. You guys would drive around delivering packages, kind of like Amazon roadies. You'd be on the road and you would take a package from A to B and you'd be together. You recently too helped us do, how many visits did you guys do for Live the Journey? 70 visits. And you both said, we can do it together, we will be co-visitors. That's just an impactful thing for us as married couples. For your journey with Financial Peace University, think about that. Tell us a story about how you got involved with Financial Peace University. You have a long history with it. You've led it many different times. Why do you love it? And you're also taking some next steps in the future we'll talk about to benefit our local community here. And all those that would be listening to this, wherever you are, you could join online as well. So let's start at the beginning. How did you learn about Financial Peace University?
Well, it's probably back about 2011, and I was working up north and driving location to location, and the radio stations aren't real good. You get one or two, and Dave Ramsey was on all of them. and everywhere you go was Dave Ramsey.
Corner Market.
Corner Market. And so I think maybe it was a message. Ron, listen to this. Okay, I want to talk to you here. So I got to understanding who is this Dave Ramsey guy, and we got to doing research on it, and then we thought, how can this work with the church, within the church? And so we had a voters meeting, and in front of the voters meeting, that was in a very tough time for this congregation financially. And we talked about that in stewardship, we had one member on a stewardship committee. Well, the next day I got a call from Kelly Dawson. Hey, I'll step up and join stewardship. And then I got a call from Don Wade, and I didn't know Don. And he says, hey, this Dave Ramsey thing, I have an interest in this. So Don actually went back and visited with the Ramsey group on one of his business trips and brought it back. And he actually led the very first class. Was about 170 members went through Dave Ramsey class, a momentum class sponsored by a church group from Ramsey Group here, a huge group. We are now, this year, we'll have 500 students will have finished Financial Peace through our church.
Praise the Lord, that's amazing.
So, and not all of them are members. We've had a lot of outside members and ministries that have come from outside. So it's interesting, during that time, we had LCF was talking to us about, you guys need to do a fundraising program to help get the interest in giving to increase. And we talked to them and said, we really can't. Our members, they don't want to give, they can't give. So we really need to provide something else. And the FPU Financial Peace was the avenue to get them into a position financially where they could begin giving again.
It's amazing as a leader looking back how people go before you to make a way. And you guys were used by Jesus. This is 2011 or so. I'm called as a pastor here in 2013 to till the soil, if you will, for seeds of the gospel to be planted, to get to where Jesus has led us today, apart from that kind of nitty-gritty person, family by family ministry that you guys started and are continuing now, Christ Greenfield is not anywhere close to where the ministry is today. So thank you for your faithful leadership. It really is. Vicky's a crier, and there may be some tears on this because I am just overwhelmed, overwhelmed with gratitude at what God has done through you. So let's get specific. Tell us a couple of stories of transformation about how FPU have blessed different families.
Well, some of the earlier on, there's many. There's just a lot all through membership. But one that really strikes home to me is Jerry and Teresa. If you listen to their story, they went through financial peace, and I'm not sure they were all the way through, but they're far enough through. They understood the budget, and they began getting the debt paid down, and really had the basic principles. And then Jerry had the medical incident that happened to him. So Teresa had to really kind of step in and take over everything, all the finances, and help him with Jerry's business that he was doing while Jerry recovered, and all the burden that came along with that as a spouse. So it's really neat for her to be able to, and them to be able to share their story. And we had them come in as guests in our classes and share their story about what they did and how she handled going through the financial crisis using some of the FPU tools that they were given. We had another member here, her husband passed away. And what's interesting about this story is that she had about $500,000 sitting in two different funds, owned two homes, and was taking care of the mother-in-law that had a fund of about $250,000.
Wow.
So they had money.
Yeah.
Her challenge was, I don't have a plan. What do I do here? So we got her connected with some financial advisors that she could talk to about the money piece of it. Worked on her budget with her and how to live day to day. And for example, she was taking money from her funds to take care of mother-in-law. And we said, no, use mother-in-law's. She's got $250,000. She was 90. How old was she?
Somewhere close there, yeah.
She's got $250,000 in the bank. She's going to be okay. Use that money to take care of mother-in-law, so let's not deplete your funds. And so there's some simple guidance things like that, so it doesn't really matter where you are in your journey or how much you have or don't have. You can always learn.
Yeah. And I love the camaraderie that happens in the class and the group that bonds to say, I'm not alone. There are resources. This is a common problem with high credit card debt, living outside of your means. And so you've impacted so many lives in that.
I wanted to talk about our son and daughter-in-law. Yeah. They got married. She brought some student loan debt into the marriage, and David's a gung-ho Dave Ramsey follower, and you must go to FPU before you get married. They did that. They worked the budget. They were working that at home, and she wouldn't stick on the budget. And, they caused a few frictions there, so somehow they decided they need to get out of the home to work on the budget. So the end of the month, before the first starts, they go to a coffee wine bar.
Okay.
Number one, you can't fight that well when there's people around you. And they work on the budget. They both bring their list of what needs to be in the budget.
And it's fun.
It's fun.
And you're getting a little lubricated there with the
and you're focused.
They've paid off their, this has been 3 years. They paid off all their student loans. They're debt-free except for their house.
Do you hear that? Go out, have a good time with your spouse if you're married, and have a drink and talk about the budget.
Yeah.
And pay out of your envelope with cash.
That's right.
Yes.
In the budget.
Yeah, and
Other stories.
Want me to talk about the envelope now?
Sure, envelopes.
I'm big on envelopes. I'm the free spirit in the family. I do the budget. So that's kind of contradictory to what everybody says. Even Dave Ramsey says the nerd should do the budget. This nerd doesn't do the budget very well.
I'm not good at that.
So I do it. I do it well.
That's great.
We're debt free now.
Praise God.
So I do it well, but I still stick to my envelope. I know how much cash I can spend every month or payday. And the other day I was at Sprouts and bought just a couple of little things. It was under $20, and I pulled out my cash for that. And I handed it to her, and during this season, she handed me change back. And I just kind of looked at it, and I thought, this stuff's dirty.
This is dirty money.
And went home, and I kind of forgot about it. We put the groceries away and did everything. And that night I told Ron, I says, oh, yeah, I'm not going to use cash for a while. And his eyes got open. He says, what? Why? And I says, I don't know whose pocket this cash has been into. We still have to keep track of where that money's going, but, and
Digital
that's really
envelopes right now, then. Digital
that's
envelopes.
really hard for me,
You're so used to
not
cash.
being a nerd. I don't do computers and all that high-tech stuff. It's a struggle for me. I like my cash, but I'm learning. I'm learning.
Yep, and Dave would
So-
say with the getting the money out, there's an attachment and emotion to
Right.
handing that over.
Absolutely
We've been doing
is.
envelopes for about a year and a half, and it's helping
It changes
us out.
life,
But
doesn't it?
we get off track a little bit
You
as well.
do,
So,
yeah.
it's all good though. It's really important, and I love going to the bank twice a month just to get that
Yes.
amount of money out and divide it up and put it into the
You have a
envelopes.
plan. It doesn't always work, but you have a plan.
It's
so.
better than not having a plan. It's just worked out.
Absolutely.
So at Christ Greenfield here, and this applies to you if you're listening as a leader to lead time, as a pastor or someone that goes to a church, or just someone that's a leader that isn't even a Christian that could benefit from this new experience at Christ Greenfield, our family and ministries. We're tweaking a few things and offering something new. So tell our friends that are listening this new offering that we're putting together to help people, especially during this coronavirus.
Well, right now we see there are three groups of individuals how we're living with our money. There are those that have lost their job and highly impacted, and they're struggling. How do I pay rent? How to keep the lights on? How do I buy food for the family? So that is the one group that's really struggling, and their approach today, Rams, is a little bit different. Let's not worry about investments. Let's worry about keeping the lights on. And so we're calling that the four walls. That's really a crisis mode, how to manage the budget and keep the bills paid. The second group is those that have been impacted. It may be an example of someone that is a Federal Express truck driver or a Walmart driver that working all the hours he possibly can to keep their shelves full at the stores and packages delivered. But the spouse may have lost their job temporarily. So they've been impacted, but they can adjust the budget. And then they're going to be okay. They've just got to adjust the knobs. Then there's the third group is that they really have not been impacted. Now, they got to stay close to home, but and their 401k they've seen a drop in the 401k, and we know that will come back over time. But they've got, the bills are paid, they're debt free, they haven't felt the pain the others have. And like us, you got a stimulus check. Well, I don't deserve a stimulus check. And so it's an opportunity for that group to go help the first group and help them find a way to pay their rent and help them. So we're kind of tailoring the financial piece along those three lines. So the first one is on the four walls, help you get through the crisis and get you kind of set on how do you handle things going on now. The second piece will be lessons 1 through 3, a financial piece. It's more focused on the budget and taking care of your personal finances. And that approach. And then there's always to be the traditional 9 weeks financial piece that goes through from baby step 1 all the way through. It's a 9-week class. Those will all be done via Zoom at this point. We actually have 5 teams within Christ Greenfield that can do these classes. These are people that have been through financial piece. They drank the Kool-Aid. They understand it, can lead the classes, and can help us through that journey.
You said something about 4 walls. That's not something we're probably familiar with. So what exactly is that offering? And you said, first off, it may be for those that are a little more financially anxious right now. What is that 4 walls experience?
So the 4 walls is kind of like, and I drew a visual of this, it's like your house, is that you need to protect your home and though that things are in it. So you got to be able to pay the rent and pay the mortgage and keep the lights on and transportation, food, medical insurance. You got to make sure you have that in order to look for work and maintain a healthy lifestyle. What doesn't happen is paying that boat bill. You don't pay that right now. The credit card bills, you don't pay those right now. You notify those creditors we're in trouble and work with them on how to delay those payments. And you'll get calls from debt collectors, you got to do this, and you got to pay that now, and you need to put that aside, and you focus on
What's
taking
in the
care
4
of
walls.
the 4 walls.
The
Taking care of that
basic essentials.
first, and we'll work on the others.
Is that
later.
one class?
That's one class, 1 hour session.
One-on-one, or is this a group class that you're looking to put together?
We can do either, but our intent is to do a Zoom class, open it up for many people that want to step in and take the 1 hour and go through a Zoom class.
And so we may have people listening right now that want that. What's their next step right now?
Let us know or the church office know.
Yep.
We'll schedule a Zoom meeting and get you the date when it is. And it'll be a 1 hour, it might be probably in the afternoon.
Yeah.
But again, it'll be a 1 hour session.
So info@cglchurch.org, info@cglchurch.org if you want to get connected to the Four Walls 1 hour. It's free. And the Wilsons and others on our team just want to sit down with you and help put together that plan. That's beautiful. You also talked about a refresher, 3 classes, very much focused on the budget. What's that called? Have we even named that yet? Or
No,
3 FBU classes for you. And it could be right after you take the 1 hour, you get your the 4 walls kind of together, and then we're going to take some next steps after you're a little bit more solid.
Yeah, because the 4 walls, you got to work a budget. Okay, so this will apply to that group as well, but take some of the pressure off on the 4 walls of what's the priority. The second piece on this, the first 3 baby steps, it really is about the budget. Well, it's about the budget and about your relationship with money and your spouse's relationship with money. So really, we'll do a quick, fun, easy survey and identify the nerd and the free spirit within the family. And like Vicky talked about the nerd and the free spirit with us. But the intent is to change your relationship with money, which will improve your relationship with your spouse about money. And then it gets into what is a budget. We talked to a lady last night that's in financial crisis, and she makes $80,000 a year, hospice nurse. Went through her budget items, and her mortgage payment makes up 45% of her income. That's a lot. And so she's worrying about her car. And I said, well, we got to figure out this house payment thing here. And she just bought the house 2 years ago. So it kind of works on what should be a balanced budget. How much should your house make of your total budget? And working on the credit cards, a debt snowball, paying off the lowest credit card amount to the highest credit card. So really, it's intended to lay out a plan.
So give me a teaser right now. Give our listeners a teaser on what is that ratio to your mortgage and what should be our perspective toward credit card debt.
Well, the mortgage should be somewhere between 25 and no more than 35% of your income, of your take-home income. Now, credit card, there should be no credit cards. Okay, I mean that's the ultimate goal is just to get through that. And we actually have a jar that's full of credit cards that have been cut up since our very first class.
You keep this?
Yeah.
Oh, we kept those.
It's like a memento.
That's a moment. Yeah. We've seen in our coaching and even in our FU classes, it's not uncommon for a family to have 12, 15 credit cards in a family.
Wow.
And
a dozen.
And in some cases, they're all maxed. So there'll be a credit card max for $1,000 or one for $5,000, and they're all totally maxed out.
Maricopa County, the average is about 9,000, I think.
About 9,000.
Credit card debt.
Credit card debt.
Average per family unit.
Yes.
Unbelievable. So that's why you've got to meet that felt need first before we can even talk generosity and giving it is our way. I mean, that is overwhelming.
We were coaching a couple. We talked to her first, and she knew exactly how many credit cards they had, but they wanted to file bankruptcy. So we told, get together with your husband, see exactly what you've got before you go talk to that bankruptcy attorney. They had 25 credit cards. They each had credit cards the other one didn't know about, maxed out.
Like 85,000 probably, something.
Yeah,
That's
I think it was
massive.
55. Yeah. So.
And you just
Yeah.
feel exhausted and
Yeah.
overwhelmed and no help. But there is help right here.
There's
Right.
help.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Ron.
Well, and car payments. You look at cars payments now, and they're 72 months out on paying for a car.
They can make it all look good, and
all
they
look
stress
good.
that out.
We'll fix your car payment down to what you can afford to buy, but yet it runs out. Can you
Credit.
imagine 72
Interest.
months to pay for a car?
Yep.
So it's really is trying to get the car payment where there is no car payment. The roadies we did, that helped us pay cash for car.
That's awesome.
Okay, so it's doing those kinds of things to find ways to eliminate the car payments and to eliminate the credit card debt to where you're really living off of the cash within your means.
Yeah. I love what Dave Ramsey talks about, you can build income, sell some stuff, get another job. If you're willing to work and to pay off debt or pay, to expand in life, get another job.
So we go through that. That's some of the things we do in the class. What are the ways you can very quickly in an emergency fund? How do you go to get a $1,000 emergency fund in place? And what are some ideas and suggestions? And the classmates, they'll pitch in some things that they've done. So
I mean, it's an impactful class. We've all gone through it. How have you seen Jesus really use that class to grow people as the financial house in order goes up? It seems like faith goes up as well.
Well, for us, we got a couple of examples. We had a class here, and it was in the before all the offices were moved into the parish meeting conference room there. Large class, probably about 20 students in there, and most of them were not from this church. Right. It was on a Sunday, and you guys forgot the class was going on.
They love that.
So you guys came barging through the door.
Hold that thought, time out. Like if you're a leader and you're a pastor or you go to a church, we were able to offer this class during service. And for some, it's like, oh, you would never do that. But it drew people from their website, Dave Ramsey's website for Financial Peace, onto the campus. Yep. And in the other room, they're hearing worship. Pretty incredible. Yeah. Time in.
Yep, thanks. So pastor's barging through to take the robe off and change clothes, and the class was kind of, who is this guy? And,
in white, in this dress, in a white dress.
And one of the students, if you remember, Pastor, he asked you, what baby step are you on? And you can't, we have no debt, I'm paying the mortgage. I mean, and it was just perfect timing. Awesome. So it really helped set, culture. This does work outside of this class. In that same class, there was a couple, he was a pilot in the National Guard. She came in and she's about this big pregnant, and she had not been baptized. So they went through the class, and she was the free spirit. She was a blast in the class. He was a very quiet but it was they were a great couple. About 3 months after the baby was born, she was baptized and the baby was baptized in our church. Mm. So not only did they take away with them the tools of financial peace, but they also got God in their heart and into the family that will impact them for the rest of their life.
It's amazing.
So there's going to come a day when we're back on this campus, and I don't know how many people we'll be able to allow at one time as the phases go on, but we're just going to say it's kind of like it was before, 1,000 some people on a Sunday morning, multiple campuses, all that kind of stuff. So when we come back, we have plans into the fall to start to have a conversation around finances and generosity, the future vision of this family of ministries right now. But it's an interesting thing as a preacher, communicator of the gospel, to watch the different reactions from people as you start talking about money and finances and generosity. So I have my own thoughts. But what are your thoughts about, and we'll start with Vicky. Vicky, what are your thoughts about how talking about money is such a taboo topic in our culture? Why is that?
It is. It's almost even amongst couples, we don't talk about that. He pays his bills and I pay my bills. Getting it together, doing it together has brought us closer together. Even just talking about the envelopes and the cash I wouldn't have just done that without letting him know why I was switching from not using cash anymore. Oftentimes we're debt-free now, so oftentimes after dinner or something, one of us will bring something up, we want to give to this organization or that, so that's something we can do. But if you're in debt, it makes it hard. Yeah. It makes it, you don't want to talk about your money. You need to talk about your money. Please. It's out there. It's
preach, Vicky, preach.
Your money is public. Everybody sees how much money you actually have, if you believe it or not. They know.
Anything to add, Ron?
Well, I think if you look for us in talking about money, it kind of goes back to the holiday, kind of the unofficial rule that when you have relatives come over for the holiday, the Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner, there are 3 things you don't talk about. Mm-hmm. You don't talk
money,
about
politics.
Yes, and sex.
Okay.
So, a bonus. But those are But that's true with us in our church talking about money and what the money can do for the congregation, and it really, it really is not about keeping it all to ourselves. It's about learning better to manage what we have and to give back. When we do the budget, the first 2 things on a budget, which is not normal for most of us, is savings and giving.
Yeah.
That's at the top of the budget. Now, most of us, and before we got into financial peace, you pay all the bills first and then you save and give on what's left. Well, there's very seldom much left.
I don't really have anything to give. It's kind of that
give.
cop-out then.
So we've seen people have actually have increased their giving by going through financial peace, and their first thing is savings and giving. They're putting them first and God's money first, and then work the rest around that.
Yeah, I think there can also be a lot of shame of, I haven't figured this out, and I don't know if I can ask for help. Ask for help. Also, lack of experience in your family system. I mean, I didn't really ever see my parents like consistently give to the church, but then seldomly write a big check. And so that was kind of like, is that kind of how I want to operate? No, I want to tithe. I want to grow in my generosity. I want to sign up online so it's all consistent. But Mom and Dad, thanks for all that you've given and shown. But it was these overwhelming abundance at times. But I never really had heard like, this is how they manage their money. So it's important to create a culture of transparency in your house. At some age for your kids, probably 10 to 12, of saying, this is a little bit behind the scenes of how to manage money. And you're doing it along the way, but really important. So what's your final word of advice for our listeners, wondering whether they should explore Financial Peace University?
Well, now Vicky says, if you don't know where every dollar is spent, you need financial peace. Okay. If you don't have a plan longer term, what's going to happen for the next generation? You need financial peace. If you aren't sure how to stay and live within your means and be accountable to you and your spouse about how to manage money, you need financial peace. And if you want to improve your marriage, it's faith-based. This is Dave Ramsey program. It's faith-based about how we live today, and then we can give better tomorrow.
And marriage counseling in disguise.
It is.
It's money's one of the biggest marriage problems there is. So you get that worked out.
Come on.
And Dave says something about we want to live like no one.
Yeah, live like no one so we can give like no one.
Be weird.
Be weird. Live within your means, and you can give much more later on.
Beautiful.
We cannot wait to let you know the specifics around when that Four Walls class will be kicking off. Again, send us an email at info@cglchurch.org, and we will get you guys connected to the Wilsons. And once you get those dates, we kind of see what the class is. If it's open on my calendar, I want to come and get a taste of Four Walls and then the next 3 sessions with you and with hopefully many of you as well. Jesus is on the move in beautiful ways today. Through crisis, God is at work. Think of when you grew. I bet it wasn't through seasons of plenty. It's through seasons of crisis and want. And when you are in want, living life with an open hand, an open heart, God comes, He shows up and shows off in beautiful, beautiful ways. So be in the Word of God, be in community, build transparency and authenticity, share your struggles with us. This is what it means to be a part of the body of Christ. Wilsons, you are a gift to the Christ Greenfield family. And another shout out, if you're not a member at Christ Greenfield, it don't matter. However you found this, it don't matter.
Yep.
We want to love you and meet you right where you are as it relates specifically to your evolving financial future. For sure.
Yeah, and as we close, as you think about Jesus' return, He comes back and He says, good and faithful servant. Well done, good and faithful servant. Part of that stewardship is of money. And so Jesus is coming to you and reminding you that He cares for you, He loves you, no shame, no guilt, but pay with cash and honor that and pay well.
Thanks for joining us. Wilson's on Lead Time. Sharing is Karen. We mean that. Whatever the social media platform is that you are, share it. Copy the link. Send it out in an email. Get the word out about what Lead Time is all about. Every single Friday into the foreseeable future, we are here for you. Wonderful interviews coming up. Like the Wilsons, Jesus is good, and you are a leader who has made the investment. Time is an investment. Made the investment to grow, and the kingdom of God is better for it. Eternities are being changed. Thanks so much for joining us on Lead Time. Peace out.
Yeah, look at it go. Oh my, Wilson's
We're getting
are
better
awesome.
at that.
Kinda. Not really.